Imagine walking into a room and without saying a word commanding attention. Imagine acting decisively in moments that paralyze everyone else. Imagine being so compelling, so unshakable and so respected that even your opponents hesitate before challenging you. The truth is, most people will never experience this, not because they lack ability, but because they have never mastered the art of dangerous confidence. In the next few minutes, you will learn exactly how Machiavelli would teach you to become someone the world cannot ignore, someone whose confidence is a weapon, whose presence is authority, and whose power is undeniable. Most people go through life timid, hesitant, and second-guessing every choice. They let fear dictate their actions, insecurity cloud their judgment, and self-doubt steal opportunities that were theirs for the taking. Every day, they watch others seize what they secretly desire, respect, influence, power, while they remain invisible, unheard, and irrelevant. But what if I told you that the key to changing everything is not talent, luck, or charm, but the dangerous kind of confidence that forces the world to obey your presence? That is what this video will teach you. How to transform fear into power, hesitation into dominance, and ordinary confidence into something so formidable it becomes inescapable. Every conquest in life begins not with strategy, not with brute strength, but with the silent war happening inside the mind. Before a person ever speaks, moves, or takes a single step toward their ambition, they are already battling the enemy that has destroyed more empires than armies ever have: fear. The fear of being judged, the fear of being rejected, the fear of being exposed as inadequate. It lives quietly in the shadows of the mind, whispering warnings and inventing imaginary dangers. Machiavelli understood something that most people today refuse to accept, that the greatest chains are not forged by other people, they are forged by yourself. And most walk willingly into slavery. If you look closely at human behavior, you will see an uncomfortable truth. People do not act according to their abilities, they act according to their courage. Even the most talented individuals trap themselves in small lives because their fear evaluates every possibility and convinces them it is hopeless. They rehearse failures before they attempt victories. They pre-accept defeat to avoid the discomfort of effort. They choose safety over expansion. Machiavelli saw this flaw in human nature centuries ago, describing the masses as creatures who desire security above all else, willing to sacrifice power, opportunity, and even dignity just to avoid uncertainty. And today, the world is no different. Fear has become the silent governor of the modern mind. Notice how often a person stops themselves before the world even has a chance to judge them. They hesitate before speaking in a room, censor their own ideas, soften their voice, shrink their posture, all because they believe the world is hostile. Yet the tragedy is that the world isn't nearly as hostile as they imagine. It is indifferent. Most people are so preoccupied with themselves that they barely notice you. But insecurity magnifies everything. It convinces you that every eye is watching, every whisper is about you, every room is full of enemies waiting for you to fail. This illusion drains your strength before the real battle even begins. Machiavelli knew that perception shapes fate. If you perceive yourself as weak, the world will comply and treat you as weak. If you see yourself as inferior, you will behave in ways that confirm that belief. A timid self-image breeds timid actions, and timid actions create a timid life. But here is the important part. These fears are rarely based on facts. They are based on stories you tell yourself. Stories about your worth, your place in the world, your potential, and your limits. Stories often inherited from childhood, reinforced by failures, strengthened by comparison, and protected by avoidance. The problem is that fear feels intelligent. It feels logical, rational, responsible. It disguises itself as caution, when in reality it is simply submission. People mistake fear for analysis, hesitation for wisdom, and nerves for intuition. This is how a person becomes their own enemy and blinds themselves to their true potential. Machiavelli would call this a failure of the inner state. Before you can bend the world, you must first conquer the disorder inside yourself. You cannot rule anything outwardly if you are ruled internally by panic, insecurity, and self-doubt. Imagine a general who retreats before seeing the enemy's army. Imagine a ruler who abdicates the throne before sitting on it. That is what you do every time you surrender to fear without testing the reality behind it. You give power to an illusion. You let a phantom dictate your actions. You allow a shadow to shape your destiny. Machiavelli would tell you that fear must be studied the same way one studies an opponent: observed, understood, dissected, and ultimately dominated. You do not eliminate it by hiding from it, you eliminate it by shining light on it. And when you examine the fears that hold you back, when you confront them directly, you will see they are nothing more than exaggerated assumptions. You fear the judgment of others because you assume they think about you as obsessively as you think about yourself. They don't. You fear speaking your mind because you assume your words carry great consequences. They rarely do. You fear failure because you assume it will ruin you. It won't. The world moves on faster than you imagine. Yet these invented catastrophes imprison you, making you timid where you should be bold, silent where you should speak, hesitant where you should act. Machiavelli knew that power is never given, it is taken. And to take anything in this world, opportunity, respect, influence, you must first develop the courage to seize it. That courage cannot grow in a mind ruled by fear. Confidence, the dangerous kind that changes lives, is not built from positive thoughts or motivational speeches. It is built from clarity. Clarity about what fear truly is, a liar. Clarity about what insecurity truly does, sabotage. Clarity about why you hesitate, because you believe in dangers that have no teeth. Clarity is the weapon that punctures the illusion. To build this clarity, you must begin by observing yourself with brutal honesty. Notice the moments you shrink. Notice what triggers your anxiety. Notice how you fold yourself into smaller shapes to be accepted. Notice how often you let silence win over expression. Notice how you apologize for existing. This is not sensitivity, it is self-abandonment. Machiavelli would remind you that the greatest mistake you can make is trying to avoid all conflict. Conflict with others is manageable. Conflict with yourself is fatal. The inner war you refuse to fight becomes the outer life you fail to conquer. The truth is simple. You are not lacking ability. You are lacking permission from yourself to use your ability. The world does not need to intimidate you. Your mind is doing that job perfectly. It criticizes you, doubts you, restrains you, and then convinces you that these limitations are natural. They are not. They are learned, and anything learned can be unlearned. But unlearning requires confrontation. It requires doing precisely what your fear tries to prevent. It requires speaking when your voice trembles, standing firm when your body wants to fold, acting decisively when your mind begs you to wait. This is how confidence is formed, not by escaping fear, but by defeating it repeatedly until it bows to you. This is the beginning of becoming dangerously confident, because the person who no longer fears imaginary threats becomes capable of real power. The person who is not intimidated by their own thoughts becomes unstoppable, and the person who studies their fear the way Machiavelli studied political enemies begins to understand that fear was never the problem. Obedience to fear was the problem. Confidence, the kind that commands rooms and bends situations to your will, is not a gift. It is a carefully cultivated strategy, and like all strategies worth executing, it demands patience, observation, and subtle mastery. Machiavelli understood this long before modern self-help gurus wrapped it in slogans. He knew that true power does not come from appearances alone, nor from brute force. It comes from presence, the ability to be perceived as decisive, unshakable, and respected, even in the face of chaos. And presence is not born from courage that others see. It is born from the controlled management of your own mind and actions. Most people attempt confidence the wrong way. They repeat mantras in front of mirrors, they smile nervously in meetings, They try to act bold without understanding the invisible rules of perception. Machiavelli would see this as a waste of energy. Confidence, he would say, is an armor, and armor must be constructed with precise care. It is not a bluff that fails under scrutiny, but a system that guarantees respect because it signals competence, authority, and self-possession. It is the difference between someone who feels confident and someone who forces the world to acknowledge their confidence. The first principle of this Machiavellian confidence is the art of measured action. The individual who hesitates at every decision broadcasts weakness to the world. People smell uncertainty like prey smells fear. They exploit it, test it, and eventually dominate it. The dangerously confident person understands that action, even imperfect action, is far superior to paralysis. They choose decisively, act swiftly, and accept the consequences later. The act of choosing decisively is itself a form of power because it signals control. Others assume that you have already calculated risks far beyond their understanding, and in that assumption lies your advantage. Next comes controlled silence. Most people fear silence. They fill it with nervous chatter. They over-explain. They reveal their insecurities without noticing. Machiavelli teaches that silence is a weapon. It conceals strategy. It creates mystery. It forces others to fill the gaps with assumptions, and they always assume you are more capable than you might feel. A person who masters silence gains a presence that cannot be ignored. Every word spoken carries weight because it is not squandered on trivialities. The dangerously confident understand that scarcity in speech produces abundance in respect. When you speak, the world listens. Emotional control is another pillar of this formula. True confidence is not emotional detachment, but the mastery of expression. Displaying rage, anxiety, or desperation is a declaration of weakness, and weakness invites manipulation. Machiavelli observed that rulers who cannot manage their emotions are overthrown not by armies but by cunning advisors, ambitious peers, and opportunistic enemies. The dangerously confident learn to calibrate their reactions. They allow small slights to roll off their shoulders. They maintain composure in high-pressure situations, and they know precisely when to allow emotion to be visible, for intimidation, for persuasion, or for calculated vulnerability. Emotions, when wielded like weapons, transform mere confidence into strategic dominance. Another aspect of building presence is posture and movement. The body does not lie, and neither does confidence. A person who slouches, fidgets, or averts their gaze communicates submission before a word is spoken. The dangerously confident understand that their physical presence is part of their strategy. A deliberate stride, a steady gaze, a calm and measured tone, all of these signal authority before logic or argument has a chance to assert itself. Machiavelli would remind you that humans respond instinctively to appearances. The body can convince the mind of others before they even process your words. The strategic individual leverages this truth relentlessly. Observation and timing also separate ordinary confidence from dangerous confidence. The world is not a chaotic storm, but a chessboard of predictable reactions. A Machiavellian approach requires studying the behaviors, tendencies, and weaknesses of those around you. Knowing when to speak, when to act, when to pause is far more powerful than reckless assertiveness. Confidence without timing is arrogance, and arrogance invites opposition. The dangerously confident act with precision because they understand that power is often a function of patience and foresight as much as courage. Finally, Machiavellian confidence is reinforced through reputation. Confidence is a story told by your actions, and actions are remembered longer than words. Each successful decision, each controlled response, each display of mastery contributes to a reputation that precedes you. People begin to expect competence, and expectations shape reality. When others anticipate strength from you, they unconsciously treat you as strong. This is the hidden law of presence. The mind of the observer bends to the narrative you craft through your calculated behavior. It is not charm alone, nor charisma alone, but the disciplined orchestration of action, perception, and timing that constructs the dangerous confidence others cannot ignore. This formula is not theoretical. It is practical. It is what separates leaders from followers, predators from prey, rulers from the ruled. Machiavelli would argue that the person who controls perception, acts decisively, tempers emotion, manages silence, and moves with strategic presence is already halfway to domination. Others may underestimate them, may test them, may attempt to undermine them, but the unshakable, calculated confidence they exude creates friction against which no ordinary opposition can prevail. Those who master this approach do not simply feel confident, they become a force that cannot be ignored. People defer, hesitate, and yield not because they recognize inherent superiority, but because they instinctively recognize competence and fear the consequences of challenging it. This is the essence of Machiavellian strategy. Power manifests not in brute display, but in the subtle orchestration of perception, timing, and action. The person who wields these tools moves through the world with authority, commanding attention, respect, and influence, even in situations where their internal self-doubt lingers beneath the surface. Perception is more powerful than reality. This is a truth that Machiavelli drilled into the minds of those who would rule. The world is not always cruel, nor is it always just, but it is always observant. It judges you not by your intentions, but by the aura you project, by the signals you send, by the story others tell themselves about who you are. To be dangerously confident, one must master the art of perception. It is not enough to feel strong. The world must perceive you as strong, even when doubt gnaws at the edges of your mind. Those who understand this principle operate with a kind of invisible authority that others instinctively obey. The first step in shaping perception is to control visibility. The human eye is drawn to distinction. Those who stand out in a subtle but unmistakable way attract attention and respect. Machiavelli observed that the appearance of decisiveness is more influential than the act of decision itself. People will defer to someone who seems certain, even if that certainty is manufactured. The dangerously confident learn to project an image of mastery through posture, voice, and the economy of movement. Every gesture is deliberate, every word calculated. This is not about deceit in a trivial sense. It is about crafting a presence so precise that uncertainty cannot find a foothold. Understanding the psychology of others is equally critical. People do not operate in isolation. They constantly interpret, analyze, and respond to one another. Machiavelli called this insight the foundation of power. When you move through the world, you are never just yourself. You are a force interacting with a network of observers. They will react to the signals you send, and you must learn to anticipate those reactions. By cultivating a reputation of calm control, by acting decisively and speaking sparingly, you can manipulate the narrative in your favor. People will attribute competence to you even in moments of uncertainty, because perception is often mistaken for reality. One of the most potent tools in this endeavor is the art of selective vulnerability. Showing weakness at the wrong moment invites exploitation. Showing it at the right moment can disarm opponents, inspire loyalty, or create strategic alliances. Machiavelli understood that humans are guided by assumptions, and assumptions are formed by what they see and what they are allowed to interpret. The dangerously confident know exactly when to allow others glimpses of humanity and when to remain impervious. This balance between accessibility and mystery ensures that no one can predict you fully, and unpredictability breeds respect. The eyes, the voice, the posture, all these are instruments of perception. A steady gaze communicates fearlessness, a measured tone conveys authority, a deliberate step signals intent. The individual who masters these tools moves through interactions with an almost magnetic influence. Others begin to defer, not because they consciously recognize superiority, but because their instincts have identified it. Machiavelli would point out that this is not magic, it is strategy. It is the disciplined manipulation of signals, so that the world responds before the mind even processes the action. Confidence is amplified by consistency. Repetition creates expectation, and expectation shapes reality. When people observe someone consistently acting with calm assurance, the mind fills in gaps with competence. They assume that the person has knowledge they do not, that their calm is rooted in strategy, and that any challenge would be met with skill and foresight. Machiavelli warned that inconsistency erodes authority. A person who alternates between confidence and hesitation sows doubt in others. The dangerously confident maintain a seamless narrative, a uniform presence, and a predictability in action that commands respect without revealing weakness. Timing and anticipation are also critical. To shape perception, one must move when others least expect it, speak when attention is ripe, act when hesitation paralyzes the masses. Machiavelli emphasized that fortune favors those who prepare, but it rewards most those who execute decisively. Perception is manipulated by the one who chooses the moment of appearance, who reveals their strength only when it produces maximum effect. The dangerously confident do not act impulsively. They calculate, they watch, they wait until their presence can alter the course of events. Influence is further enhanced by the orchestration of narrative. People remember stories, not isolated actions. Your reputation is a story in motion, shaped by what others see and what they hear. Every interaction contributes to the narrative others construct about you. The Machiavellian master understands this, ensuring that each visible action reinforces the image of competence, fearlessness, and control. Even small gestures, the way a hand is extended, the angle of a head, the rhythm of speech, can be woven into a perception of authority so potent that it precedes you in every encounter. Finally, Machiavelli teaches that one must never rely solely on internal confidence. Perception must be carefully cultivated because the eyes of the world are relentless. People rarely see the effort behind composure. They see only the result. If that result is uncertainty or hesitation, respect erodes instantly. If that result is unshakable composure, they defer instinctively, and even adversaries hesitate to challenge someone whose presence communicates mastery. To be dangerously confident is to become a force of perception, a presence so finely tuned that doubt, challenge, and opposition encounter an invisible wall of authority before they ever reach your defenses. Confidence alone is a tool, but when wielded with precision, it becomes dominance. Machiavelli knew that those who command attention without action are admired briefly and forgotten quickly. The dangerously confident do not simply exist in the world, they move through it as a force, shaping circumstances, directing outcomes, and compelling others to yield. To turn confidence into dominance, one must first understand that the perception of strength must be translated into behavior that others cannot ignore. Every gesture, every word, every decision becomes a signal, a warning that you are not to be underestimated, a subtle assertion of authority that others cannot challenge without risk. One of the most powerful methods of asserting dominance is decisiveness. Indecision broadcasts weakness. Hesitation signals doubt. The Machiavellian individual understands that power accrues not to those who deliberate endlessly, but to those who act with authority, even in uncertainty. Action commands respect. When a person consistently takes charge, even when the path is unclear, others begin to trust their judgment instinctively. They assume that every move has been calculated, that every choice has been weighed against unseen consequences, and that any challenge would be met with an equally decisive response. Dominance is established in the space between action and reaction, in the subtle but unmistakable signal that you will not be stalled, deterred, or questioned. Control of attention is equally essential. The world is chaotic, filled with voices and distractions, but the individual who dominates knows how to command focus. They speak with authority, act with deliberation, and maintain a presence that draws notice without effort. People instinctively gravitate toward individuals who appear unshakable, who do not seek approval yet command it. Machiavelli understood that influence is rooted in this kind of gravitational presence. By becoming the center around which others orbit, you shape not only how they perceive you, but also how they act. Influence becomes dominance when others begin to defer automatically to your judgment, even without conscious acknowledgement of your power. Another facet of dominance is the management of risk. The dangerously confident do not act recklessly, they calculate consequences, anticipate challenges, and prepare contingencies. Machiavelli would say that fortune favors the bold, but it favors most the bold who have prepared thoroughly. Dominance is not just about projecting power, it is about being able to act in ways that others cannot, to take advantage of opportunities they fail to see, and to respond to threats with efficiency and control. A ruler who appears invincible is rarely so because of inherent strength. They are invincible because their preparedness transforms perception into reality and reality into authority. The orchestration of others' expectations is another essential strategy. People operate based on what they anticipate from you. The Machiavellian individual shapes these expectations deliberately, ensuring that every interaction reinforces an image of competence, fearlessness, and mastery. When others expect decisiveness, composure, and skill from you, they begin to behave in ways that accommodate your dominance. Negotiations, alliances, and confrontations are all influenced by this subtle manipulation of expectation. By controlling the framework in which others operate, you create an environment where your influence is amplified and your power becomes inevitable. Consistency is also a key weapon. The dangerously confident do not fluctuate between boldness and hesitation, visibility and retreat, strength and vulnerability. Their presence is unwavering, their actions deliberate, their authority predictable in its reliability. Machiavelli observed that inconsistency breeds doubt, and doubt invites challenge. Those who maintain steady dominance become impossible to dismiss. Others begin to internalize their competence as a given, and the very idea of questioning them becomes risky, even dangerous. Through consistency, the dangerously confident convert respect into obedience, admiration into deference, and presence into dominance. Strategic intimidation plays a subtler yet critical role. Dominance is not about cruelty or aggression alone, it is about ensuring that your authority is recognized and respected. Machiavelli emphasized the careful use of fear as a tool, not a weapon of excess. The dangerously confident demonstrates strength in measured doses, allowing opponents to sense power without provoking unnecessary rebellion. A look, a pause, a controlled reaction. All of these serve to remind others that you are in command. Dominance, in this sense, is psychological. It is the cultivation of an invisible tension that ensures compliance before confrontation is necessary. Finally, the Machiavellian master knows that dominance is maintained through constant vigilance. Confidence is not static, it must be protected, reinforced, and evolved. Others will test boundaries, challenge authority, and attempt to undermine influence. The dangerously confident anticipate these tests, respond without alarm, and turn opposition into opportunity. They understand that power is a living force, sustained by perpetual observation, adaptation, and refinement. The moment confidence is allowed to become complacent, dominance begins to erode. By continuously monitoring perception, controlling presence, and acting decisively, the individual ensures that confidence becomes not just a personal trait, but a force that shapes the world around them, bending circumstances and people alike to their will. In the end, confidence is not a fleeting emotion, it is a weapon, a strategy, a presence that commands attention and bends circumstances to your will. We have traced the path from fear to mastery, from hesitation to decisive action, from perception to dominance. You have seen how the mind that conquers its own doubts can project strength far beyond its actual capacity, how every gesture, every pause, every choice can manipulate the world to recognize your authority. Machiavelli taught that power is not given, it is taken, and it is preserved only by those who understand the laws of perception, timing, and strategy. To be dangerously confident is to become a force that others cannot ignore. It is to act decisively when others hesitate, to move through uncertainty with unshakable poise, and to wield presence as an instrument of influence. It is to turn fear into fuel, hesitation into precision, and perception into reality. The world responds to strength, not because it is deserved, but because it is recognized, and recognition is a game you can learn to play with skill, strategy, and unwavering control. Now the choice is yours. Will you allow fear, doubt, and insecurity to dictate the life you lead, or will you rise, master your presence, and walk through the world as someone whose confidence is so refined, so deliberate, and so commanding that it becomes inescapable? The dangerously confident do not wait for opportunity. They create it. They do not seek permission. They take what is theirs. They do not merely exist. They dominate. The question is no longer if you can be confident. It is whether you are ready to become dangerously, undeniably, unshakably confident and let the world recognize it.